Welcome to KNN. KSI.
The Knowledge Use Network. This is the 6th episode of KNN. Our theme for tonight's show is KSI Then and Now. Tonight, our special guests will be an old timer in these parts, so stay tuned.
Yes, we got a lot of good topics to talk about. We got some of our new global articles. We're going to be talking about the Div Cup and how you can earn points. And later on in the show, we will be talking to our two special guests about their experiences in KSI. But for now, we're going to start it off with some of our new global articles. So, the first one is the Real KSI, written by our very own KSI Jessie77. And she goes into depth about, what it really means to be in, KSI, just, other than it being 3 words. And it is really well worth the read because she does go in depth about, her experiences, what it really means to be in KSI. And our second article is about our very own Fall Classic. So it is a KSI event that runs from the 27th of September to the 30th, and there will be a lot of great games and a lot of great events like World War II, I believe Destiny 2, and Halo. And at the end of the Fall Classic, we will be inducting members into the Divisional Hall of Fame. And if you not have already done so, you can go vote on the forums in the Divisional Hall of Fame archive. And if you want to tune in, go on to KSI Live on Twitch. So, Carousel, you want to go over the news or some of our new anchors?
That sounds super interesting. I think I read that there was also going to be a karaoke duets thing in the Fall Classic.
Yeah.
So that's going to be some fun. I haven't seen a duets one before, so that will be interesting.
Go sign up.
Get involved, everyone. For news, anchor applications are open. We're going to be adding another anchor to the team before September 1st, so go apply in the Join a Department section. If you have an outgoing personality and you have an interest in participating more in KSI, it's always a fun thing to do. Congratulations to KSI Jessie77 on becoming lead anchor for KSI's news show and becoming the news department's go-ahead. Thank you, Jessie, for all your hard work. And if you'd want to lead in with the weekend warfare.
Yes, thank you very much. So, this weekend's Weekend Warfare was Gears of War 4. It was a 3v3 extermination and was hosted by KSI All-Star RM17, KSI Yamoto, and our very own KSI Galhead. As always, kudos to everyone who showed up and made their div proud and participated. So in first place from CD, we had KSI 07, KSI Baby Beast, and KSI Killer Z. In second place, we also have another team from Crimson Dawn. We had KSI Taywick 77, Happy Gun 58, and Moose Cadaver. And in third place from WD, we had KSI Calicoy 7, KSI Tiger, and KSI Countryfield. We had 15 people sign up, and kudos to them. And always, the weekend warfares do count towards Div Cup points, which we'll be talking about towards more of the middle of the show. So kudos to everyone. And Cassar, you want to take it away with T&E and Productions notes?
Sure. Saturday, September 1st, T&E is going to be hosting a tournament on Halo 5, 2v2 Slayer. The event, as usual, starts at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard, and the sign-ups close promptly 2 hours before the event starts at 6 p.m. It's always fun to participate in the weekend warfares because you get to meet more people from different divisions, and it's always easy to sign up since it's just that simple thing at the top of the forums page. Happy hour. As as per request in the open door area. My bad. This is being open for members to post up announcements for their squad, divisional, or other events. If you want to come out to get viewers on your stream, want to gauge interest in potential events, post it up there. The Hunters standing for the top 10 most kills. In 10th place, KSI Hang X2X Low from WD, 122. In 9th place, Crispy from EO, with 122. In 8th place, KSI Spartan 27 from DL, with 122. 7th, KSI X Hero Hugh 2003, DL 132. 6th, Comic Bear 41, DL 134. 5th place, KSI Godzeus, DM with 137. 4th place, KSI Nebula 7 from DW with 157. In 3rd place, KSI Beaches from CD with 166. In 2nd place, KSI CK Sora from DW with 168. And in 1st place, KSI December 77 from LS with 195. So thank you to all the people who participate in Headhunters, and nice job. It's getting really close there, isn't it?
Yes, indeed. Well, next is our Divisional Cup, and it will end at the end of August. So, if you do want to earn points for your division, you can go participate in Weekend Warfares. You can post your montage and clips for the montage and clips event for productions. That'll also earn you points. You can vote for of the month or divisional of the month. So, if you want to go nominate a special member or just someone you know that deserves to be this, like a lieutenant of the month or a director of the month, you can go vote for them. If you go sub to Twitch at KSI Live or at KSI Live 2. Also, the recruit officer ratio. So if you do have a good recruit to officer ratio, that can also earn you points towards the Divisional Cup. So all those are great ways to get your points up. So going over the standings for our top 3 teams. 3rd place, we have DN with 206 points. In 2nd place, we have EO with 214 points. And in 1st place, by a landslide, is DW with 298 points, almost 300 points. So looks like the other divisions have to be catching up to get 1st place from DW. But anyways, there's still time. Someone can catch up. But if you want to go get in those last bit points, just go do one of those things that I listed. Maybe your team will get 1st place. Hopefully, who knows? So now we're at the part of our show where we're gonna interview our 2 special guests. So, Karisar, if you want to go ahead and interview our first special guest, take it away.
Okay. Hello, Rita. How are you doing today?
Pretty good. I've got no complaints. Feeling a lot better than I was 2 hours ago.
So let's dip a little bit right in. Can you tell us your recruitment date and your current rank now?
Yeah. I was recruited November 22nd of 2015. And what was the last part of that?
And your current rank?
Oh, my current rank. I'm a senior director. I'm one of 3 seniors here. Ronan being included in that. So, yeah. Hi.
Do you remember who recruited you?
I do. KSI Taiga.
Sounds probably.
It was my gen.
But do you remember the experience?
Yeah, it was. I remember. Well, I knew Tyga from way back in the day. Me and him used to be in DHG, and he hit me up one day, and he was like, "Yo, do you want to join KSI?" And at first I told him, "No, that's stupid, and clans are stupid." And then he kind of worked me down, and I was like, "All right, I'll come join." So I joined, and I did a bunch of work, and he wouldn't promote me, which kind of I don't know, tilted me a little bit. So for a long time I was inactive, and I was kind of like a sergeant. They called me the salty sergeant because I'd come to squad events and I'd just like play games and just make fun of stuff. It was pretty great. And then yeah, I met Cuba. It was my like I consider her my like first gen. You know what I mean? That like really taught me stuff and that like I really grew with. And Cuba Max Bomb kind of became that mentor for me and propelled me to like do better and not be a salty sergeant. And I came up the ranks that way to squad general through divisional rankings to where I am now. So a lot of that I owe to her specifically for kind of showing me that like KSI wasn't just what I had previously experienced from the general beforehand.
Well, in saying that, would you say it was like easy or difficult to rise to where you are and have the rank you're at?
A little bit of both. There are some things that I feel like, and this isn't, this is kind of humble bragging, I feel like, so I'm, sorry. But there are some things that I feel like I just had, you know what I mean? I've always kind of been more of a dominant personality. I think that helps a lot when you're in a leadership role. But with that also comes a lot of negatives. I was kind of hard-headed. I didn't really take others' opinions super well. And it was hard for me to put myself in others' shoes. So I think that was one of the difficulties coming up through the ranks was learning how to put myself in others' positions and then also learn from those experiences. So it was a little bit of both. Leading a squad meeting for me, that was never an issue. I talk a lot, as you all probably know from being in parties with me. So that was that was always something I was naturally just okay at. But I had to grow a lot to get to where I am now. And if I didn't grow, I probably wouldn't be here. And in fact, I can guarantee I wouldn't be here. I just wouldn't have had the personality or knowledge to do so.
So you're saying that made it like a little bit easier in some ways, more difficult, I guess. Is there like one thing that tipped it more the other way, like much easier about your personality in general that was like the driving factor of this is what I want to do?
I think, and again, I always feel weird when I'm doing this because I always feel like I'm humble bragging. That's not the intention, though I'm sure it sounds like that. But I like when I first came into KSI, I didn't really have a too big of a scope. A lot of what it was is just this is a gaming community. They've got a lot of members. I'm just here to hang out, and because an old friend of mine wanted me to come, that eventually turned into me getting to know my squad and doing a lot to I think try and push forward the agenda that they wanted. And I think that stayed true even now. I care a lot about I think the people in KSI, and that's why I never really like put myself. If we're in a party, I talk to you like what I mean. We're just people on Xbox. I think a lot of that is due to just a want to continuously improving KSI for the members. At the end of the day, this doesn't work without every person who signs up on the forums or every person who puts their location and bio to what we ask them to. So that was always like the main driving force, I think, was just like once I got to a lieutenant, once I got to a captain, especially once I got to a general, it was what can I do to better my members' experience. And a lot of that was moving up the ranks and changing things little by little. And that's just continued even now.
Okay. What's different in KSI now from the time that you were recruited?
the environment's a lot different. That's just a super general statement. I think the members have changed a lot. And I'm sure they do that, over every generation of KSI. But when I came in, there was a lot of, I don't want to say fear, but there was a lot of just anxiety towards like leadership. If a seven joined the party, you know what I mean? Oh, a seven joined the party. You know what I mean? We got to kind of stop having fun now. And I think it's changed for the better in the notion that that's not really a thing anymore. I mean, people are still, I think, nervous around leadership if they really, enjoy it here and they're trying to move up, especially officers. But it's not the same like, oh, you know what I mean? You can't say that. I mean, there's certain things you can't say around anyone in KSI that's against COC. But a lot of people were afraid to have fun. They're afraid to joke. They're afraid to pick at each other because they're always worried that someone would come in and whatever do seven things and. But that's not a thing anymore. So that's been something that's changed. Another thing is I feel like the culture in of itself has kind of changed a little bit in the leadership. I think the leadership's gotten a lot better. I mean, I obviously have like a bias toward, and I mean that on like a clan ops level. I have a lot of bias, I think, towards our current leaders just because I came up with them. Some of them were under me, some of them, were moving up the ranks with me. So I feel like we're running things a lot more efficiently. I could also just be 100% biased and have a skewed opinion, which would render that opinion invalid, but that's just kind of how I see things compared to when I was coming up where there weren't as many top-of-the-notch leaders that you could see being on the board of directors one day or like being a director one day. There wasn't a lot of that. There wasn't a lot of cream rising to the top, and I think that's really changed over the course of the years, at least on leadership, levels. There are obviously things I think we've done differently that have negatively impacted us as well, but those are like the positive things I see.
Do you feel like you yourself had a little bit of an influence on the way members are looking at the sevens as more common? Like, do you think that was something you tried to help with when you were moving up?
I mean, I think I'm a part of that movement, but I don't think I'm a direct influencer of that movement. I feel like a lot of really good leaders came up around the same time and all kind of banded together to reestablish what we felt like KSI should be on. Again, this is all purely on a clan ops level. The board, they did their own things to improve. Departments and web operations have improved a lot as well, doing their own things. But from a clan ops perspective, I don't feel like I'm a
Ooh. KSI Veritas, his internet just looks like he just disconnected from the party. Oh,
gotta
you're
love
back.
that Xbox connection.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't feel like I was a direct influence on that personally. I just think I kind of came up at the right time with the right people that helped me shape that, and I helped them shape that.
Well, you talked about the things that you've seen change for the better. Is there any particular thing that you saw that's not like change for the worse, and you don't really like, or?
Yeah, and this is something I don't think this is something that derives from the community itself, but the median in which we operate the community. So this is kind of a cop-out answer because it doesn't really place blame on anything, but oh, well, we got a new system, but I'm going to give a cop-out answer. Sorry. I think the Xbox One really, I came in during a time where the Xbox One was really starting to get phased in, which is kind of crazy to say because the Xbox One had been a thing since 2013, and I came in at 2015. So to say that is pretty crazy in of itself, but I especially saw games being like squad game types being less and less focused on one game and becoming open, and then we kind of figured out, well, open's good, but it's not the best for activity because not everyone's playing with each other. I think a lot of the tight knitness of KSI has kind of loosened a little bit. I feel like there are a lot of divisions that are on their own island. Um, and I think a lot of that derives from the current system. Uh, I just think it's super easy to. I mean, you've got so many different games coming out, so many different ways. It's easier now than ever to connect to millions of other people who play Xbox, and so there's not really those niche games that people used to play like on 360. You know, when I was in DHD on 360, I was in a Halo 4 division, and what did I do all day basically? I played Halo 4. Um, Coming up through Firebird and on a squad level, I was in an Xbox One squad. We were a BO3 squad. How much do you think I played BO3? Only when there was a game night. So I think things have changed kind of for the negative in that way, because I know KSI was very similar to DHG, plus just talking to other people. But it's also maybe not a negative thing. It's kind of the perception you see it, because we haven't necessarily lost a lot of members. We haven't necessarily like done anything wrong. It's just a new era, and I think it's just getting used to that. So I think I'm always going to feel that way, even if we're doing everything right and firing on all cylinders. I think I'm probably always going to have that skewed opinion.
Well, in saying that, is there anything that you wish we still did that we don't do anymore, like specifically?
That's a tough one, because there are a lot of things that we used to do, but then a lot of things that you look at through like rose-tinted glasses. I think that anything that we don't do anymore, there's a reason for it. And in fact, the shows are kind of one of those things where there are a lot of good shows that came about. And this wasn't even like when I was coming, this is like when I was like a 7, like, you know what I mean, moving up that way. But I remember just really enjoying the old happy hours. Now, and I know there's still happy hours now, but the old ones used to be, and I think that was mainly because I was a part of the panel for happy hour that I really enjoyed it, which I don't really have the time to do anymore. But yeah, I mean, I definitely miss a lot of the old shows, like talking about things when MP was doing it. That was super fun, among other things. So, I mean, the shows are like, you'll always like, not that the new shows are bad, because the new shows are really great too. It's just a different thing. And so I always kind of look back onto the shows that like I used to have something to do with, and I'm like, darn, I kind of wish, I still kind of did that. Another thing with that is I wish that we did more game nights on like a divisional, like interdivisional basis, where like divisions played with each other. I tried doing that a little bit more when I was a director with the divisions that I was over. I remember I had a big one with DM and LW. But you know what I mean? A lot of divisions don't play with each other anymore, or if they do, it's like particular cliques that kind of know each other that just happen to be in different divisions. So I missed kind of like, again, that kind of goes back to the root, which is like the tight knitness of the community has kind of loosened a little bit. But I don't think that's our fault. I think it's just how the Xbox One has kind of developed us. We had to adapt.
Is there anything coming in KSI that you are really excited about? Some type of change or something that a lot of people don't know about?
I mean, as far as change goes, KSI is obviously changing every day. But bigger changes, obviously, and this is something everyone knows, but MP's moved to CEO. Eventually, that'll be CEO, chairman of the board, executive chairman. With that comes a lot of new people being added to the board. A new team, a new era of leadership that's actually going to run KSI as a whole. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, it's all a board effort. Everyone who's in the board meeting contributes to the overall success of KSI on a community leadership level. So I'm excited for that. There are a lot of people that, I know MP is going to be bringing into the fold. There are a lot of people who are in the divisions right now that will probably eventually be a part of Impy's team, and the board. So that's exciting. I'm really excited for PO, and where PO is going to be going. I mean, they're already doing great things now, but there's a lot of room for them to expand even more. Um, um, and then yeah, just departments in general, I'd say. We've all kind of been firing on all cylinders recently, which is really good. So I think that overall KSI has a lot of potential to do really well this next year and a half, 2 years, under MP's leadership and under the new team that eventually gets formed. And I think, I don't know, 2 years from now, when whatever someone in this party is, something else or whatever, I think we're gonna look back on that and say, wow, you know what I mean? Look how far we've come. So yeah, it's not really any specifics. It's just kind of new leadership coming in, the passing of the old guard, kind of like giving the community to the new generation. I think is very exciting, and I think it's going to need to happen for us to really succeed. And I'm glad we're heading in that direction. Not that the old people who've been here forever are going to go anywhere. It's just a lot more new people are going to be added to that team, which is exciting.
I get you. The ever-changingness of all the upper leadership, the things that changes, the routines, how things go down.
Yep,
Do you
the
have
only
any new
constant in
information about
KSI
the
is
Fall
change.
Classic? Do you have any new information about the Fall Classic?
Other than, I mean, everything that's been put out there, I don't know. Has the schedule been released yet? I didn't go to the meeting, so I don't know what it all is in the notes. But I can say that the Divisional Hall of Fame obviously is a new addition to the Fall Classic, and it's going to be that. That's going to be the first one we do. That's going to be a lot of fun. Anyone watching, if you haven't already, you should definitely nominate someone in your division that you feel like deserves the Hall of Fame. That'll be something that kind of adds to the dynamic of Fall Classic, and then also just the tournaments in general. But as far as like specifics, you know what I mean? It just kind of comes out when it comes out.
Yeah, they've released it, but they always say it could change. It could always change.
Yeah, well, and that stays true up until the day we do it, really, which is kind of, you know what I mean? It sucks, but at the end of the day, things are always changing. But yeah, that schedule is what we plan on doing.
And I'll give you one last little fun question to finish this up. Who's your favorite superhero and why?
My favorite superhero would probably be Batman, and which is kind of funny because a lot of people think he's lame, but I really like him because he shows that you don't have to have superpowers to be extraordinary. All you need to have is the work ethic, dedication, and, well, I mean, a lot of money. But aside from that, you know what I mean. You can be a normal person and do fantastic things. So I like Batman. He's kind of like the underdog of the superheroes, and he's become, arguably the poster superhero of DC, so that's pretty cool.
Thank you for your time, Veritas. We appreciate you coming on the show.
No problem.
And Battle Bear, if you'd like to interview our second guest, KSI Ronan 77.
Indeed. So, hello, Ronan. How are you doing today?
Good. A lot of meetings.
Pal. So, can you tell us when you were recruited and what your current rank is now?
So I was recruited a long time ago, in 2011, during the summer. The exact time is... don't really know. Sometime in the summer. Early summer. And I'm a senior director right now. AKA just another person.
Awesome. So, do you remember, who exactly recruited you? that day, or is it kind of a blind spot?
Nope. Back then, Game of Thrones was like in season 1 or 2. So the person that ended up recruiting me was named KSI Khaleesi. But since then, there's been like 50 Khaleesi's. So shout out to y'all.
Yeah. Was it easy to get it to the top? Like, like since you're a senior, like, was it hard getting there, or like what obstacles maybe did you have?
Well, it took a long time. That's more or less because the whole 5-year span was it. I mean, just in general. I mean, Greg was a senior for a long time. A lot of people were seniors for a long time, which meant a lot of people were directors for a long time, and the like. The only thing that really kind of changed was like divisional structures, divisions merging, divisions opening, stuff like that. Um, I mean, for me, like not really, because like I was a co-founder about 2 years ago, which isn't really that long, given that like it took about a year to get up through the division level, and then took about another year to go from director to senior. So, like, not really. I'm not sitting at each rank for like 2 years. So,
Yeah, agreed. What's different now in KSI than the time you were recruited? Because I know a lot of today's big leadership was recruited all the way back in somewhere around 2011. So anything like changed really since that time, or is it all the same?
no, it's like not even close to the same. A lot of the core concepts aren't even the same. The mentalities aren't the same. I mean, doing a quick rundown because I kind of broke this down last time I was on the show. But as far as the quick stuff, so like then we communicated on Skype. Terrible idea. Obviously, Skype was a platform, but the other things regarding Skype were trash. Then moved on to Kick, and now we're on Discord. This like the rank structure didn't really change a lot. They removed director at one point. They'd had advisor. They got rid of major. So like on a squad level, there wasn't a lot of changes, but like on a divisional level, back then, squads and like for the most part, divisions were defined by one game, not even a game type or like a franchise, but just like by one game. A lot of them, I guess, were like COD divisions, like COD and Halo were huge. Eventually, like about 2.5 years ago is when things started becoming like hybrid and open game type and dual game type and stuff like that. And the 360 was kind of the first to venture that way. Um, Mainly because 360 was slowly becoming more like irrelevant as far as like DLC's not coming out, and then eventually like the game started like being garboose. So, which is like my version of saying trash. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like definitely a lot of stuff that's changed, especially when it comes to like the upper leadership, like the board, members that are still here that are from those types of eras. Um, they come from an era where a lot of things were like very, very uniform. Um, and the biggest kind of justification when it comes to figuring out things was, well, this is how we used to do it. Well, there's like a big, huge like time gap between then and now. Um, so I don't know. A lot of stuff now is like on the fly judgment, figuring things out, stuff like that.
Agreed, definitely. We've had our fair share of changes in this community. Um, have we all, like as a community, changed for the better or for the worse?
So, uh, um, for the better, as of now. a while ago, I couldn't really say that, even though my rank was different and my outlook was different. Um, and it shows, just being blunt. There was quite a span where very few divisions split and more divisions were merging and closing, um, with the general stipulation that you would like close two hurting divisions to create a division, like kill off kind of all of the like the bad things about it, whether that be like people, atmospheres, bad mentalities and stuff like that, and then you would kind of refocus on the good stuff. No different than like closing a small squad that you feel like would just be better if it were merged into a bigger squad or a squad with like a different ideology, stuff like that. um but yeah, I think that kind of addresses the question.
Yeah, and I think we do have a different mentality when we're like a lower rank, but when we get towards a higher rank, we kind of have more of a responsible kind of, attitude towards everything. But agreed. Um, is there still something is there something you wish we still did that we don't do anymore? Dead show maybe, or like, band, like, what do you wish we still did?
Like in its prime, sevens versus viewers, leading up until it not becoming a thing, it got pretty like bad, like pretty bad. Just to kind of like socialize with people on a level that's not so like I'm here for a reason. Once we figure out that reason, then I'm gone. Not to make it sound like that's always what it is, but a lot of times we'll deal with people that are like wide gaps between the rank chain, solely because they have an issue. That's usually what we deal with as seniors. If they're not in our 5 rank kind of like circular outreach, then it's just a lot of issues, which isn't terrible, but there's a balance between myself and the 2 other seniors, that the directors are kind of picking up on, that the board's kind of picking up on, that like rotating people work, stuff like that. Like ideally everybody would like to do that, but it's not so easy to implement, when sometimes you get frustrated and all you want to do is chill, or you see so many issues, all you want to do is work, work, work. So stuff like sevens versus viewers kind of was like a KSI base platform to kind of support the ideology of just gaming. Usually sevens would get slapped up because this is not a community based off of skill level. I'm just gonna be honest. But it's just, times are different now. The gaming skill of the upper leadership has gotten better. So, thank God. But
Agreed. We're not all, we're not all scrubs anymore. We're getting better. Is there anything coming in KSI that makes you like really excited? Because I know there's been a lot of changes to the board. Like, Gotlin gets promoted to the department, chief department. Greg got promoted to chief knowledge, and I think recently Ace got promoted to the COO. So, or anything else, maybe like Fall Classic, anything, something like that, makes you excited for the future.
I mean, this may sound very cruel, but the events are standard. The events come and go. The events are pretty much solidified. So like looking forward to the events, I would put as like lower in my top 5. Not that like dealing with them is like terrible, but for me, and just from what I've seen in like my perspective, like the education, the individuality, the leadership, feeling confident in the community is something that's kind of faulted. A lot of people have grown organically, which is dope. The problem is there's been a lot of other people that kind of were casualties of war, so I kind of classify it. And by certain things happening out of that organic culture, there will be less people that are casualties of war. So like example, like lead is finally getting reworked. I have a small hand in that. So do people like Havoc. So do, I mean, some of the seniors, the board. Um, Other stuff like PO, like way back in its conception in like December. Well, it's like reconception. I had a small hand in that, in bringing it back. Because honestly, like a lot of leaders that are here now, like directors, seniors, what's left of the board. I guess I'm not really going to classify the board because some of them have been around for forever. But like even like div leaders, it's kind of been a grow at your own pace, and some people are really comfortable with not growing, which is fine. But when that's kind of the legacy you pass on, is that growing's not a necessity, then you have a lineage of just stability. And to me, I've always been an advocate of growth and stability. You grow by 10 people, you give them something to do, or you figure out what they want to do to give them stuff to do. Because then people can't, I guess in like a pure state, they can complain about not having stuff to do. And there's also more growing that's planned on coming. So like worst case scenario, why don't fit in with this group of people or whatever the case is, then there's going to be a whole new segment of people introduced, which kind of adds more to like the pot of gumbo. If your gumbo is just rice and like sausage, it's going to be kind of lame. But if you add like spices and veggies and whatever and turn it more into like a soup, then obviously the variety is what appeals more to people in the community. No different than why like the departments got like super hot over like the past 2 years. So for me, like the departments already stepped their game up. Departments have been functioning at like, if you were to like put a percentage from like 0 to 100, in the last year alone, they've gone up to like at least 150, as far as max capacity goes. But honestly, it's like the education. The testing for how to be an officer was garboose for years. I mean, there were questions on there that like, if an officer goes off on a like sergeant, for an example, what do you do as a general? One of the answers to the questions is asking the officer if they're on medication, which is like some of the things are just like messed up answers by default. So I don't know, trying to like standardize education so you can standardize people's backgrounds and try to find more commonalities with people is more of what I'm hyped for. It sounds really, I guess, kind of like nerdy because it is a gaming community. But when you have intelligent people that can fluctuate very well, then it appeals to a certain sect of other people that don't just want a game.
Yes, I agree. We're all changing, and community's changing for the better. Lots of stuff is growing. There's more of a kind of serious question. What have you learned from KSI? What have you learned most from this whole ordeal from KSI, and why?
I don't know. Well, I've learned that I talk a lot, like a lot. I'm
Lot.
usually like 85% of all conversation in every party I'm in. Um, but like on a more serious note, I don't know. I mean, like understanding people has become a huge thing. It adds to like developing leadership, developing community response, developing like a lot of things. There's always the people that would be cool with understanding their homies, who's in their circle, what's beneficial for the now. But I mean, honestly, meeting people from other divisions and chilling on a community level, understanding people and the ability to take that, figure out where the positive points are, maybe not focus so much on the negatives unless it like becomes like bad. Being able to take that and do something with it is like the biggest thing. Because for an example, like if a corporal shows up to a game night and they don't really like the game that they're playing, or for an example, like, I don't know, they're focusing on making a new profile picture. Being able to understand how to utilize that in a way that still gets them to where they want to be by introducing something like, hey, we have a graphics team, or hey, I want to see what you're made of. Is there any way you can make me a profile picture with KSI in it and, blah, 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 and stuff like that? The ability to understand people and see what they want without them having to say it is a huge, necessary skill, especially at a squad level, because you'll begin to bridge gaps that other people don't bridge just out of like comfort level, just out of like being around, especially new people. They're not exactly the most comfortable. But yeah, I guess that's like a, I don't know, that's like maybe 3 different skills at once that I kind of just like super morphed into one. But whatever, it answers the question. So
Yeah. All right, a bit of more fun question. If you had to have any animal as a pet, which one and why?
well, let's see. If I want to factor which ones I want, I have to factor out which ones I don't want. No panda bears. They literally get abused on Xbox. No foxes, because there's literally a billion people I know with the name Fox somewhere in it. No, I don't know. No bears. No dinosaurs. None of those. I don't know. Like, I'm not really a pets type of person. So if I did, it'd have to be like something super exotic, like an armadillo or like a Siberian tiger, even though like that would probably be an absolute nightmare to have. Um, yeah, we'll just go with an armadillo. Screw it. Worst
Good
case scenario, it
answer.
curls up into a ball, and you can just like build a, I don't know, an empty fish tank that like has a part where it can just roll itself downhill and be endlessly entertained. It's like a hamster with a hamster wheel, except for like it is the
Yeah.
hamster wheel. So
For me, I'd probably just have the lion from Narnia because, I mean, who doesn't love Narnia? Probably a turtle because turtles are life.
yeah, I can see that.
Turtles are life in the chat. All right. It was nice talking to you, Ronan, and hopefully we get to see you again on one of our other episodes. So nice talking to you.
All right, yo. Other than that, I'm gonna bug out. Peace.
All right, man. See ya. All right, so thank everyone to tuning in to KNN. It was a really good show. We had a lot of good things to talk about, and we're going to go to our closing statements. Our next KNN will be next Tuesday at 8:30 Eastern, as always. If you want to get involved in KSN, you can go on the forums. We got 4 ways to do it for you. We got featured story submissions. If you have a cool story you want to talk about, like if you want to, like, I don't know, like maybe an experience with something, like an experience with KSI or some advice, you can go submit it. If you want to shout someone else on the community, you can just go shout them out in there, and, put it in, I want to shout this person out, and we'll shout them out on the show. Guests, sign up if you want to go sign up as a guest and appear on the show. Just go on our news section on the forums, and we maybe will get to you, and you maybe will be on the show. Joke submissions, if if you got a funny joke, like, why is pineapple on pizza, why'd the chicken cross the road, or, like, why foxes rule the world, or something like that, you can go submit it on there, and maybe we'll read it on the show. Spread the word, everyone, and encourage people to watch the show. I'm Balbear, and we will see you next Tuesday, and always have a great night.
Yep. And I'm Karasor signing off.